Focusing on a flashback, Hall of Fame name with a legacy that's long. That's the legend of the Armstrongs. Questions get answered, oh, you didn't know? Let's start the show.
Welcome into the show. It's Road Dogg and Casio, and you're listening to...
Oh, you didn't know? We usually count down like 3, 2, 1, but today we didn't. For some reason, we just hit play.
Boy, we jumped.
I like it that way. To be quite honest, it's spontaneous, it's organic, and it just makes you react. How do you get some sizzle? You throw me into the frying pan.
Yeah.
Casio, how have you been since we last spoke? And for our listeners, they don't know this, but we haven't spoken in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, to them, it was a week, but yeah.
Yeah. How are you?
You went off the grid. Off the grid.
So I did go off the grid a little bit, but it was only to do my day job. And so that's mandatory so that I can keep the Wi-Fi on here so I can shoot the show, you know? So, yeah, I did go up to the office and did some live event work. And, yeah, it was a good time, a very productive weekend. But, yeah, I did go off the grid from everything else so I could just focus on that. I'm learning in my old age, sometimes compartmentalizing just means telling other people to shut up for a second. You know what I mean? and
that was our text group, and it worked.
It was. And I apologize, but it was like, I got to think about this. We're talking about the women's championship here, you know, or whatever, where something was
We're
serious,
sending you memes
serious
of
business.
Nick Cage with a
and
duck hair.
y'all are sending me, you know, Napoleon Dynamite. Eat the ham. Whatever.
Sending you
Tina.
promos of Natalia farting, and I got a serious job.
I'm sorry, I'm on in the booking office here, but yeah, so I was off the grid, but it was cool to get, you know what I mean, to kind of get off the grid a little bit socially and all that, and put my nose to the grindstone a little bit, and that's cool. A lot more of that coming this year, I'm sure. But man, businesses are booming, stocks are up, and so we got an interesting show tonight, though, Casio.
We got a lightning rod with us, and one of your good friends.
First, he is a great friend of mine. He is a lightning rod. But first, I want you to check in. I kind of segued to the guest and over your check-in. I want to hear how you've been and what's been going on. Do you still have those blisters and that ointment? Did it work for you?
Yeah. Thighs. Well, look, the thighs ain't going to quit touching overnight. You know what I mean? So as long as they're rubbing, it's galded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of cornstarch.
On the real, they have like a body glide that
we need them to sponsor real fast.
I actually have some. We'll talk offline, yo.
I got that gold bond. I'm good.
Shout out to Foz there. We'll talk offline, yo. Yeah, it's a gold bond type of deal, but it's a body glide. And it works. I can attest.
Body glide.
I can attest to you that it works.
Well, if anybody's seen you move.
You know what it is? It's Lumi. You seen the commercials about the lady? She says the feet, the underboob, the underbutt. Well, she says all this nasty because she's kind of nasty, but she's like the creator of this. So my wife bought the set, and we're going to try it and see what happens. I know for a fact the Body Glide works already because I've walked through several airports lately in some baggier pants, so you don't have to wear a tight fitted underpant. You know what I mean? I don't know how to talk anymore, so I'm just going to shut up. How was your day again? I'm sorry.
I'm good. I'm chafed, but there's light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
Now thanks to you.
It's illuminating.
We're gonna figure out the Body Glide stuff. We're gonna move smoothly.
It's worth a Google.
And we hope this episode moves smoothly because you got excited, man. When we started going, hey, let's bring some guests on here.
Yeah.
You immediately mentioned our guest today, and we are lucky to have him. Let's bring him on in. Your boy, the one and only, Mr. Vince Russo. How are you, sir?
Bro, what are you guys talking about, man? What the?
Yeah.
Listen, if you're talking, I think you're talking about chafing, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I've got the chafing issue.
Okay.
Actually, I saw the commercial, the same thing you've been talking about, Brian.
Yep.
I've been looking at it. I've been looking for it in the stores. I haven't been able to find it.
Yeah, no, my wife ordered it because she just sits online all night when she can't sleep, and spends money. And so I think that's what I think that's called the American dream. I'm not sure whose dream it is, but there's a lot of Amazon boxes, I can tell you that. But yeah, it works. Vince, how are you, man? How have you been?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And look at what do you got behind you? Talk to me a little bit about. Like I just got a couple of pictures of me, but what do you seem like you got?
I got too much stuff to go over.
What's the most valuable thing you have in there?
Probably this. The love of my life. My bulldog Penelope. That's probably
it. I'll be dang.
Yes.
So nothing in there's for sale.
No. I got so much stuff in here, bro. I don't even know what I got in here anymore, man.
I guarantee you, there's a picture of Vince McMahon in there somewhere.
Gotta have a robe or a leather jacket or some boots. Something's up for sale.
No, man, bro, I swear. You know what I used to collect, and I've since literally sold the entire collection. And Brian, you may even remember this. Yeah. The only thing I used to do is, because I was the editor of the magazine. A lot of people don't know I was still editor of the magazine when I was writing television. I was doing both.
Yeah.
But the only thing I used to do is every time a magazine came out, whoever was on the cover signed the magazine for me. And I wound up keeping all those magazines. But honestly, since then, I've kind of sold them all. And I really have nothing wrestling related whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, look, that's how I am too. I don't even have some things of mine. You know what I mean? I have a very small thing at my house that I do, but it's like got my Hall of Fame ring and my dad's Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like things
awesome.
that mean something to me, like just like your picture of your bulldog. You know what I mean? But is your dog still living?
Oh yeah, she's okay. I got a couple pictures back here. Penelope, she's the princess of the house.
Of the house for sure. Is she an only dog?
Is she a who?
An only dog?
Yeah, she's the only dog.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I thought you said ugly. I was how dare you?
No.
She is a bulldog, so she is very ugly.
She's hideous. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, we've all seen the mug, okay?
Let's be honest. Yes.
Let's be honest. In the 90s.
Wait a minute. Hold on, bro.
In the 90s.
Who are you to talk about my? Have you looked in the mirror lately, bro? With all due respect.
I thought he was on the mug for a minute. I thought it was a mug with Casio on it.
Yes.
And I was going to say in the 90s. In the 90s, I probably was with worse. I'm just saying. Like
Please, let's get him a mug on my face that says
I had an English bulldog as well that just passed a couple years ago. But man, we loved it. It was all white. We got it because we loved UGA. But man, we didn't realize they were kind of all psycho a little bit. You know what I mean? So, but that's why she fit in perfectly at our house.
Bro, why when you brought up this subject of the 90s and you may have somewhere, why did I automatically think of Jack Lanza and Dave Hebner? Why did that vision like this come into my mind?
And because there was something in the next town waiting, and it was always there. And
I love, bro. I swear, a lot of people don't know this, bro, but I always say this, bro. He was like Jack was my first mentor. There is no question about it. Jack took me under his wing. Took me in all those pre-tape booths, bro, when we were cutting the promos.
Yeah.
This Monday night, Nassau Coliseum. Jack was the guy who really, really took me under his wing. I never, ever forgot him for that.
Yeah. Well, and that's people that do that. You won't ever forget them, and they don't ever get the glory, but it wasn't about the glory of who taught me the ways of the wise. It was about him doing that out of the goodness of his heart. And look, Jack, from a man's standpoint, is a man that you look up to and respect just because, you know what I mean? You get that vibe and that energy from him. So I totally see how he loved me because he loved my dad. And so I could do no wrong in his eyes, and I loved that because I saw my dad when I looked at him, you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And so it was awesome. what a man's man Jack Lanza was. Hey, so you killed wrestling. You killed WCW.
I got that out of the way.
But hey, truth be told, like, that's what I love about today's viewer is how quick how quickly they forget, you know what I mean, about everything has been done. Everything comes around, goes around it all. Everybody's going to get beat. Everybody's going to turn heel except for Cena. Everybody's going to turn, you know what I mean? Everybody, there's one outlier in all this, and it's usually John Cena. Like, hey, don't call your spots out loud, except if you're John Cena. You know what I mean? So a lot of those things work. And I remember a young talent telling me, well, John Cena said to do this. And I remember telling him, you ain't John Cena. And I remember going to John Cena and going, hey, don't tell him that, because he ain't you, dude.
Right. Yeah.
He
absolutely.
can't get away with that.
Yeah.
But wrestling be dang. You know what I mean? Because it's two men phony fighting in their underwear, and that's what it is at the end of the day. And it doesn't solve world peace, and it doesn't keep my lights. I mean, it does keep my lights on.
I really think, bro, especially in this day and age, man, and I have never lost sight of this, bro. It's just entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big sports fan. That's entertainment. Movie buff TV. That's entertainment.
Yeah.
Bro, at the end of the day, man, it's entertainment. It's not life and death. It is a show.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoy the show and become a fan of the show. But at the end of the day, that's what it is, bro, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but what is it to the viewer, to the person on Twitter who just knows better? What is it to them that they like? It's not just entertainment to them, right? Like it's the body politic, right? Everything is political. Everything is in that world of wrestling, and like surely they got some ventures outside of that they're some girls that they're looking into.
You know, I swear, Brian, I always this is a shoot, man. I always make it you know, I always take the time to really try to understand that mindset.
Yeah.
And here's how I look at it, bro. I am a baseball mark. Yep. Okay, I started watching baseball, bro, when the '69 Mets won the World Series.
Wow,
that's how long I've been a baseball fan.
That's when I was born. For all you guys out there.
But bro, here I am, you know, 2023. I can't even add 54 years later, whatever the hell it is. Yeah. Every day, Brian, what I do, it's a ritual. Every morning, I get up 7 o'clock. First thing I turn on is the MLB Network, and bro, I listen to the pros. I listen to what they have to say. They played the game.
Yeah.
I never once think I'm in their club. Like I'm a fan. I've always been a fan. I never crossed that line. That's why, bro, like not to point me out, because this happens to a lot of people. Bro, when you have, you know, I'm going to call them marks. When you got wrestling marks that literally shit on the people that did it.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't understand that. I will never understand that. Like I said, when I look at former players, I revere them. I look up to them. Bro, the same with people in the business.
Yeah. It's borderline idolatry. Yeah, you know, like some of that is reverence.
It's the complete opposite in wrestling. Like that, bro, I swear to God, I lose my mind when these dirt sheet marks call one of the boys irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What do you do? Like, I don't understand the mindset, bro. And I got to tell you, I don't see this in any other sport than wrestling, where you are actually insulting the people who did it, bro.
yeah, you're right. And it's fly by the seat of your pants, very fast. And and they forget, man. Look, right now the stocks are up, business is booming, firing on all cylinders, everything's great. Who killed what again? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I always... A guy on here asked a question one time about, do you think Sami Zayn lost too early when he first came up to the main roster? Do you think that early loss hurt his character? And I said, are you talking about the Sami Zayn that's going to main event a pay-per-view next month? You know what I mean? Exactly, like, holy mackerel, no. It does. None of that matters, you know? So I agree with you, man. It's entertainment, and when you can't take it as entertainment, it sure takes a lot of the fun out of it.
It does, man. It does.
So are you out of the wrestling game altogether, or I see on social media sometimes you post about writing for a small federation or something? I'll let you talk about.
Brian, I'll be honest with you, bro. I really try to be.
Okay.
I really try to be, but I make my living off of Russo's brand, and people know me from wrestling. That I work with a lot of other companies for wrestling. They pay me to watch shows. They pay me to do a show. So I'll be honest with you, Brian, and we've always been honest with each other. In 2023, bro, I am not a fan of wrestling. It's a different brand. If you like it, bro, great, good for you, love it. Everybody should enjoy things in life. And with the way this world is today, if you enjoy wrestling, knock your socks off. That's another thing, Brian, because I say wrestling has changed for me over the years. It's not what drew me. And I am not a fan of today's product. Oh my God, bro! Like, you're the enemy, and I'm like, bro, it's just not for me. Like, it's that simple.
Well, and it's almost like it's that way. Like Twitter is a litmus test for the way the culture's moving too. Like, people have to be right. And look, I'm guilty of being a right fighter. You know what I mean? And I always heard Dr. Phil say, well, Brian, had you rather be right or had you rather be happy? And I say, I'd rather be happy, Phil McGraw. But the truth is, I still find myself, I catch myself, and I apologize to my wife to this day, because I'll start arguing about something that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm still trying to prove I'm right. And so I feel like that's where everybody's at right now. And it's if you're not with me, you're against me. And it's like, I'm just not with you.
I hate that, bro. I mean, there's so much hatred in the world, and a lot of it is stemming from exactly that. And it's the same way. Listen, Brian, I know you and I are both Christian guys.
Yeah.
And I swear, this is how I always look at it. God created each and every one of us. We are all different.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to think the same. We're not supposed to feel the same. We are all, every single one of us, bro. We may look at a wrestling show. Every single one of us watching that show, we're going to see it completely different.
Amen.
There is nothing wrong with that. That's what makes you unique. I'm not going to hate you because you like something I didn't. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's okay just to be okay. Like, everybody now is searching for immediate gratification, right? I want to feel the best I've ever felt right now. I want it to be the happiest I've ever been. Yeah, it's not reality. You know what I mean? That's fleeting. That kind of thought process is fleeting.
Absolutely.
And so let's, you brought that up, and look, I do want to be honest with everybody. I know everybody watching is not a Christian or not a believer of any kind, and that's cool. That's what we're talking about here, is the opportunities to do you, and then I'll do me, and we do us together. But when did you become Vince? Like, what was there something that changed your life to make you become a Christian? Did you grow up in the church?
Bro, you're gonna appreciate this, because Brian, listen, I grew up a Catholic. Okay. And bro, I was the kind of Catholic where, I had to go to church every Sunday with my parents.
Yep.
But I'll be honest with you, bro, from the Catholic Church, it was always the older pastor. Bro, the guy just spoke over my head.
Yeah.
He never spoke to me. So, every Sunday for an hour, I'm being dragged to this boring, church. And,
to you were a kid, right?
And it never grabbed me. And it's funny, Brian, because you'll understand this better than anybody. My entire life, I always believed in God. I always believed he was there. I always believed he was right here. I always believed he had my shoulder. I always believed he was protecting me. However, he was in no way, shape, or form the focus of my life. He was not number one in my life. I had no time for him.
Yeah.
Brian, you're going to love this. This is the God honest story. When we were in TNA, I was living in Atlanta. We used to drive to the fairgrounds, Tennessee Fairgrounds. All of us used to hop in the car and drive to the fairgrounds. And at the same time, I had a business. I had a CD warehouse in Atlanta. And I'll never forget, bro.
Was it a CD warehouse or a CD warehouse?
It was both.
I'm with you.
It was both. You want to know the truth? It was
okay. Okay. Good. Good.
It was both. I had a CD warehouse. And Brian, I'll never forget. It was one night. It had to be about 8:00 at night. I was on the phone with Dixie Carter. Okay, and I'll never forget this, bro. Jeff Jarrett, our beloved Double J. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but I was cutting the promo of all promos on Double J. Okay, he did something or said something that really, really pissed me off. Now you got to understand, he was my brother at the time. I mean, we weren't enemies. We were close and tight, but she said something, bro, and for all I know, she could have been stirring the you-know-what.
Yeah.
But it lit me up with such a vigor of hatred.
Yeah, rage.
Okay? Rage. Brian, I swear, I was in the store by myself. There was not a customer in the store. I was in the back office. Bro, I verbally heard. I heard somebody say, look at what you've become. Your heart is black as coal.
Wow.
This was never what I created you to be. Brian, you could say I'm crazy. I audibly heard the words. Brian, I was about 42. I was about, this is going back maybe 2006-ish, somewhere about then. I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
Bro, that was it. I mean, my entire life, my thought process, my priorities, what mattered, what didn't matter, bro, on a dime like that.
Wow. And see, that's the Apostle Paul story. You know what I mean? It's so apropos. I so wish that would have happened to me, that when I got saved and baptized, I would have come up clean and whole and sober, and it just didn't happen that way for me. Look, I'm here. He got me to where I needed to be. I needed to take some steps for myself, and once I was willing to do that, and funny you bring it up, I was 42 when I decided I need to stop living the way I'm living, because I'm not the dude. You said it, how God made you, and I should have said it that way first, but in my mind I thought, I'm not the dude my mom and dad raised me to be. I'm not that person, and I don't want to be who I've turned into anymore. And not until then was I ready to look at, am I white as a dove now? Heck no. You know what I mean? I'm a human being, but God is a focus on my life now. I'm a firm believer now, because I'm with you on that story. It was so fitting for me, because I believed the whole time, but I never lived like he really existed.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't just live that way. And today, I literally live in a way that at the end of the day, I judge my day and go, what did I do that was displeasing to God? That when I got there, he would go like, really? That's what you're doing?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't like, I say that, bro, I say this every day. Well, first of all, Brian, of course, I'm 62 now, so we're talking about 20 years ago. Yeah. I do a show every single week, bro, called That's Life, and it's a Christian show. This is what we talk about. But of course, according to some, bro, I've been working the Christian thing for 20 years.
For 20 years now, yeah.
But,
you and
Brian,
Shawn Michaels.
The long game.
Here's the long game. Here's the one thing, Brian, what drives me crazy. This absolutely drives me crazy, bro. Just last week, I had your friend and mine, Sean Sapp. Basically say to me what a fake Christian I was. And I'm like, do you guys have any idea what the definition of Christian is? Do you know what that means? As Christians, we are saying we are sinners. Yeah. We are falling short. We need God in our lives. Do you not understand that? I love the people, Brian, that believe, oh, you're a Christian. Oh, you're perfect now.
Yeah.
Win.
Well,
you
look,
don't fuss. You don't lose your temper.
None of that's
bro.
true. I do believe that some of that is our fault, and I say our as in the Christian and the church and all that. I think some of that has been. You see people that preach the gospel of prosperity or whatever, and it's the holier than thou. And when Creflo Dollar says, "I need you to send me money because God said I need a jet airplane," like that's where I draw the line. And so I think people, because of that, and have gotten cynical to the church. I mean, think about it. It's our country now is so much more secular than it is a religious country. It's just not that way anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
And that, look, that's, you can think about that what you want to, but that's just where we're at. But look, to me, that's I pray, I believe in God, I post about God. That's just my life. I don't feel like I'm pushing it on anybody. I don't feel like I'm I just feel like I'm living my life. And if you want to talk about it, I'm here, and we can go. But I just don't see the negative part of it. You know what I mean? Other than the stoning the woman in one of those, I think there's some bad stuff there. Maybe we need to probably relook at that.
Vince, let me ask you this, because I'm fascinated like Dogg is. I grew up. I mean, as soon as I can remember, my mom was in the church, and so I didn't ever have the moment. It was, you got 11, and we're going to get baptized in front of the congregation and move on. I'm fascinated with this moment. Was it you sat there on the floor for a second and try to figure things out, or are you throwing the CDs because you got to get it out of your system? Is it a crying? What happened after you heard that, though?
I'm going to tell you, Cassia, I will tell you a more unbelievable story than that. Okay? And Brian, my right hand to God. TNA, Brian.
Yeah.
Listen, man, when we all started it together, it was a great place to work.
Yeah.
And especially working for Jeff. Like we all loved Jeff. This was his baby. I don't know if you know this or not, Brian, but at the time when I started working at TNA, I was consulting for the WWE for more money. And I was reporting to Stephanie, and I said to Stephanie, listen, it was the second TNA show. I said, I want you to know this because I don't want you reading it on the internet or anywhere else. I am going to check out their show. Jeff has talked about perhaps me working there. I'm going to go check out the show. And I just want you to know up front, while I was consulting, I went to TNA, my first show. I called her back and I said, Stephanie, thank you very much, but I'm going to go be working for TNA.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, bro, it really was family. Like,
it was a personal project, right?
It was a personal project. But Brian, we all know, and I said this about AEW when Tony Khan was saying all the things at the beginning. I was like, Tony, it always turns into the wrestling business, bro. It somehow, some way, it always turns into the wrestling business. That's the way it is, right?
Yeah, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, Brian, it's, TNA turned into the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was at a point of being absolutely miserable. Okay? My biggest concern was, I know I'm not supposed to be here. I know God doesn't want me here. Brian, again, not having the faith that God knows what I need and he's going to provide for me and my family. I was torturing myself with the question, how are you going to support your family? How are you going to support
it? Always goes to money, doesn't it?
Brian, I was in the hotel room there, the Doubletree.
Doubletree, yeah.
On my knees, praying so hard that I was in tears, saying, God, I hear you loud and clear. I'm not supposed to be here. How am I supposed to support my family? So, Brian, this is a true story, guys. Yeah. And Casio, my right hand to God, bro. My right hand to God. Brian, I go to work that day. Bro, this is the Hogan Bischoff era.
Oh, yes.
I can't, bro, I'm about to have a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Brian, I go in the room where we used to have a production meeting.
Yeah.
I locked the door behind me. This is in the middle of the day, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I got my Bible out of my bag because I needed to reset myself.
Yeah, channel this towards something.
Yeah, Casio, right hand of God. Now, if you guys know me, I do not ever have money in my pocket, ever. Since the wrestling business, I use my credit card. I never have cash. Brian, I got to be honest with you. Like it screws me up now because living in Colorado, I need that stuff to help me sleep. What is the TCB?
TCB, the Elvis.
And they only take cash. So I can never get it because I never have any money. But I never have any money in my pocket. So
you're a mile high anyway.
Yeah, I'm praying. I'm saying, God, please, how am I? I know, I hear you. How am I supposed to support my family? Right hand of God, bro. I reach in my pocket to get a piece of gum. You know the packs that fold over like
yeah.
Brian, I open it up. 2 $50 bills neatly folded like they just came off the mint fell out of the pack of gum. While I'm praying, how am I going to support my family?
Yeah.
Brian, it was so clear to me at that point that if I did not leave TNA, I might as well have just spit in his face.
Yeah.
That left me
no choice. Yeah.
And bro, the next day I gave my notice. That was it. I mean, he showed me, bro.
I will.
Exactly.
I will. Where you don't see a way, I will make a way.
That's it. And Brian, listen, guys, honestly, 2012, I've been out of wrestling now working for a major promotion for 11 years. And here I am, bro.
Yeah.
But that absolutely happened. I even called my wife. Hey, did you put any money in my gum? Did you put any money?
Did you put money in my gum?
Yeah, exactly. She's like, what are you talking about, bro? True story, man.
Hey, my wife would have dang sure not taken or putting money in anywhere of mine. She would have taken it out of there. But that's a true story, and that's man, that's impactful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
But even then, a knucklehead like me, and look, you weren't an addict or an alcoholic, and a knucklehead like me, it just, I don't know. I just needed to, before I could clear my head, and I had to get sober before I could clear my head enough to find out, oh, he will provide for me. You know what I mean? Whatever, I'll just have to put my right foot forward. You know what I mean? And here we go, and the right things will happen. And so, look, we're going to have to put a trigger warning on this thing because I felt like a revival was about to break out. And I love it. But so what are you doing? What are you doing now? And you talked briefly about it, but what's going on?
Bro, I sit here, bro, it's been 9 years now. I sit here right like this, and I'm in the basement of my house. This is my studio. I probably cut maybe 2 to 3 podcasts every single day. They're all different.
Yeah.
Very few of them are about wrestling. A lot of them are about everything else. I work with people in the business I work with Stevie Ray. Yeah. I work with Al Snow. I work with Stevie Richards. I work with the Disco Inferno. I work with EC3. So I work with all people I love from the business. And bro, honestly, I'd say 80% of the talk is not wrestling.
Well, that's important too, right there, because look, I know I didn't have any sort of balance, and this may be an age and a life thing more than a young wrestler thing, but I didn't have any sort of balance whatsoever, and just now at 53 starting to try to balance things out, my work and my personal life and all that, and making the right time for both. But so from a young talent's understanding, it's all wrestling. You know what I mean? And the fans think the same way, like it's wrestling. And so man, it's good to know some of the talent are smarting up and learning there's more to this life than just this wrestling thing. Yeah. Because I thank God in heaven above it's carried on for me, because it was just a whim and a prayer for me. But it doesn't do this for everybody. So sometimes you have a 4 or 5 year, stint, and then you're gone. So let's talk briefly about moments in the business. Because look, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's the writing, it's the storytelling," and look, so it's not your cup of tea right now. But have you followed it all, the Sammy,
Oh, bro. Well, see, bro, I'll be Brian. Again, just to be honest with you,
comment on it.
I get paid to watch Raw, so that's the only show I watch.
Okay.
However, I do keep my finger on the pulse. I know what's going on with Sammy and Eric. Yeah, I know all that.
Well, and they show a lot of that on the Red brand as well.
Yeah.
And so look, I think it's quality storytelling. I think it's long story arc. I think it's hot right now. But I forgot totally where I was going with all that. Casio, catch me up here.
Well, who's somebody that you do see on Raw?
I'm sorry. Moments. The storytelling is great, but we're still talking about DX invading. 25 years later or whatever, we're still talking about that moment. We're still talking about moments like that, and so really, I think it. And this I just want to talk about have the conversation. Is it more about moments than long-term storytelling? Because I know you remember a good rivalry or whatever, but you probably don't remember one from the last 10, 15 years. But isn't it more about big moments like that? Or,
Brian,
what's your thoughts on that?
Bro, I am not. Listen, I've for however long I've known you. I think I met you in '95. Literally, for the record, I've kissed your ass since I've known you. So if anybody thinks I'm starting now, stop. Brian, I got to tell you something, bro, and you will remember this vividly. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, bro, this is a freaking masterpiece. When I say masterpiece, I'm not saying this is a Vince Russo written masterpiece. No, everybody freaking involved.
Yeah.
Brian, every 2 weeks on my podcast, I review the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And I am going in order now. We just had the Tyson announcement.
Okay.
Tyson's going to be at WrestleMania. We don't know exactly what they're doing yet, but that's where we are. You guys are just starting to come together with DX. Bro, my right hand of God, this was the last episode I watched. When you talk about freaking moments, think about this today in today's landscape. Think about this. Bro, this is the episode where you and Billy wheel Mick and Terry Funk off the stage.
Oh, man.
Brian, the last I saw these shows were 25 years ago. I don't freaking remember. I remembered the moment. I remember that. But Brian, I'm looking at this. Bro, this was the whole 2-hour show.
Yeah.
This was the entire freaking show. And bro, I'm sitting there and I'm watching this, and bro, think about it. How many times does this happen? Brian, I get so pissed off when this happens in wrestling. Somebody gets seriously injured.
Yeah.
We go to commercial break. We come back. We're on to the next thing, and we never mention what happened to so-and-so. So I'm like, wait a minute, bro. Brian, this went through 5 commercials.
Yeah.
And bro,
was it planned that way, Vince?
Oh, bro, I am watching this, bro. This is 1,000% organic.
Yeah, great.
1,000% organic.
That's when you know it's good.
Brian, you guys, you and Kip laughing, bro, putting it over.
Yeah.
But then the reality sinks in. And now, the agents are coming out. Bro, Vince comes out.
Yeah.
Vince is reprimanding. All of a sudden, Brian goes like the kid at school, like, we didn't mean to hurt anybody. Bro, Sonny was crying real tears. And bro, freaking JR telling this story. Oh my God. Like, bro, every single aspect. I'm sitting here 25 years later and I'm like, wait a minute, was this real? Because, Brian, here's what I think is missing. Here's what I think is the big thing that's missing. Bro, it was organic.
Yeah.
It was organic. And then all of a sudden the guys are jumping you. They wanna fight you. And bro, it was so organic and so real. That's what I miss.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
the ability I sound like I'm tooting my own horn here, and if so, you could add like a horn sound in here. But like the ability for me and Billy and all the talent and Vince and everybody to work on the fly like that, and know that everybody's going to work accordingly and act accordingly, and we don't know that nowadays. You know what I mean? Now it's like, hey, everybody be serious out here, okay? Everybody.
But I got to tell you this, bro, because I'm dreading this because I'm watching this and I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, and bro, this is nothing I wrote. I didn't write this crap, bro. You guys are reacting, but Brian, the bad news is like I'm watching this and I know where it's going, and it's bringing me back 20 years when I'm sitting at Vince's dining room table and we're going over this whole thing, and then Vince brings up, oh, and at the end, Terry and Mick will come back out with the IVs. I was sitting at the living room table and I'm like, Vince, like, do we really? But Brian, do you know why he did that? Honestly, I know why he did it, but it was the way he did it. He wanted everybody to know
that they were
okay.
Yeah, the good guys. Look, he always had some method to his madness. He wanted to know if Mick Foley and Chainsaw Charlie are your guys, then you need to know they're okay and they're going to be there and they're going to defend the title.
And I'll be honest with you, when I looked at it 25 years later, it was like, okay, bro, like the IVs was typical Vince over the top.
Yeah.
But it was so severe, we had to know they were okay.
Yeah. I don't think that's crazy talk. You know what I mean? I don't think it was. I remember when they were going to do it, and we thought the whole day, well, they're just going to kill it off, and here they come back. And you know what? Sometimes you have to get on the other side of the train tracks to understand that mindset, to even open your mind to that kind of, oh wait, he's playing big picture baseball here. He ain't playing small ball. He's thinking about the big picture, and that's the promoter side of him that I could always learn from.
I swear, bro, and you know, I've heard this. I've told this story a million times. Hey, listen, there aren't a lot of things I agree with Vince McMahon about, you know, and at the end of the day, bro, you know.
Hey, when you say that, so let me unpack that a little bit. When you say that, do you mean politically? Do you mean socially?
Really do you mean, Brian, where Vince and I ended a relationship was when he told me to hire a nanny to raise my kids.
Yeah, you told me that story.
I'm sorry, bro. Family, bro. It's work. Work does not supersede family, bro. I'm sorry. So there, our morals are, you know, they're just completely different.
They're just different. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've said this story a million times, bro. Brian, you'll know this better than anybody. You cannot give Vince McMahon a white piece of paper and ask him to write a television show. He can't do it, and if he does it, it will suck. It will be the worst show on TV that week.
Let me tell in that time slot, because there's a lot of crappy TV.
No, Brian. Over the week,
Vince, I still work here. So I mean, it would be.
Hold on. I'm gonna make a comeback here.
Okay.
Casio, this is what people say to me, Vince, the only reason you were successful at the WWE was because of Vince McMahon. Casio, this is how it would work. And this is the genius of Vince McMahon. Ed Ferrara and myself would write out that entire show. When I say entire show, here's segment 1: music, entrance, action of the match, verbiage in the vignette. This is what we're doing going into break. This is how every single thing. And our goal would be, as we're writing this, we're like, bro, he's not going to poke one hole in this show.
Yeah.
That was our mentality.
And it should have been.
I swear to God. So Casio, then we bring the finished script to Vince. Okay? And Brian knows now he's got the show. There's nothing he has to do. He's got the show. Bro, the glasses are at the end of the nose. And me and Ed think this is the perfect show. And we're looking at each other like, yeah, go ahead, bro. Poke a hole.
Have at it.
Casio, he would look at the script and he would find the littlest of nuances where if the show was an 8, those nuances made it a freaking 10. And I used to sit there like, how did I not? That, bro, he could see things in his head that were so down to the most intricate thing that made Brian used the word all the time. His favorite word were the nuances.
Yeah.
That was the genius of Vince. And when it comes to Brian, bro, I'll never forget, man. We were getting our ass kicked by WCW. The goal with me and Vince at the time was, bro, we just need to write a good, compelling show every week. We can't control what they do, right?
Yeah, or focus on them.
Yeah, I'll never forget, bro. Vince sat there and Vince said to me, now keep in mind, this is Vince Russo who takes credit for everything, bro. You guys had nothing to do with the Attitude Era. Vince looked at me and he said to me, Vince, I think we should put Billy and Brian together. Now you got to understand at that point, he's rockabilly.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're doing nothing at that. Like, you're busting my balls at TV every week to find you something.
Yes.
And I'll never forget Casio. I looked at him and I'm like, really? I didn't see it because of where they were positioned at that time. And Vince goes, bro, I'm telling you, those two guys, they're young. They can go. They got personality. And that was the birth of the Outlaws. And it was 1,000% Vince. Vince saw it. And, you know, as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history. And we're still talking about it. Yeah, look, I get, you know, a lot of people think what they want, man. But his track record speaks for itself. So, Casio, you were going to ask him a question earlier, and I cut you off.
No, I got a couple. Just one. You mentioned you've been kissing his ass since you met. Tell me about the earliest memory. Tell me how y'all met, and then when was the Step Brothers moment where you went, did we just become best friends?
Bro, here's what I'll never forget about Brian. And bro, this should be a lesson to the youngins today, because this is the absolute God honest truth. When I started writing, Brian was not in the mix, like at all. Brian was doing nothing. And I remember, bro, this is, guys, I'm telling you, Brian, if things are that different today, you tell me.
Yeah.
I would show up at TV and he would be waiting for me. And he would say, Vince, you got to find me something, bro. You got to find me something. Vince, I could do so much more. Vince, you got to find me something. And Casio, what would happen he was so consistent. And Brian knows, bro, in wrestling, bro, there's a right way of doing everything and a wrong way. And if it's the wrong way, it's F you.
Yeah.
If it's the right way with the right approach, and that's Brian had the right approach. So, bro, every time I'm sitting down writing, he's in the back of my mind. Like, if I could find the smallest little thing for him to do, I am going to write it in. And that's why, you know, Brian, I know things were different back then. I know it was a different time, but guys speaking up and guys having their own ideas and guys disagreeing, all I asked was, bro, just present it respectfully.
Yeah.
Don't come at me like, Vince, you don't know what the F you're doing. This sucks, blah, blah, blah. And nobody ever did. It would always be, Vince, bro, love the show, but What if we did this?
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, 99.9% of the time, they were right. And I'll tell you why they were right, because it's common sense. Bro, all week long, I'm thinking about 25 characters on the show.
Yep.
Right.
Brian is only thinking about Brian. So when Brian comes to me and says, yeah, Vince, I went through the script, but how about this? I know he put hours and hours and hours into thinking what he should have done.
Yeah.
And Brian, like, here's another big problem I've got today with today's writing. I got a big problem with this.
Okay.
Bro, when I would be sitting here writing, and I'm writing for Road Dogg, bro, I'm Road Dogg. I know this character so freaking well. I know what he's going to say.
Yeah.
I know what he's going to do. I know how he's going to act. Every character I wrote for, I became them. I knew them inside out. So I was always true to the character. Because if you take a situation, every wrestler on that roster is going to handle it differently. Every single one. Brian's going to handle something differently than The Rock. The Rock's going to handle it differently from Triple H. I feel that over time, and this is the way it was, I think, before that era, I feel that over time, it's more of that baby face heel blanket.
Yeah.
Like, well, he's a baby face, so this is how he has to act. I'll never forget, Brian, like, you talk about a moment I'll never forget. Casio, I remember when Austin, was the biggest baby face on the planet, bro, and I wanted him to save Stephanie from Taker.
Oh.
And Steve was like, bro, and I'm like, Steve, she's the innocent victim here.
Yeah.
Vince
You're
McMahon
saving the damsel in distress.
I said, Vince McMahon is the scumbag. And bro, Brian, she was 17, 18.
Yeah.
I said, this innocent girl has done nothing. And the beauty of that, Brian, was for an instant, we saw that side of Austin.
Yeah.
But
to me, as a babyface character, you have to see that he goes back to the bus accident and helps people out of the fire.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to see that.
But that's why I just feel like I always tried to stay so true to character. And if I missed, the talent would bring me back on character. The talent, Brian would say, Vince, I wouldn't do that. And I would say, what would you do? Yeah. And he said, I would do this. And I would say, then do that.
Yeah.
And I think that was a success. It was two ways, bro.
Yeah, it was. Look, and I think one thing I think you'll be happy to know is it's getting back to that way, because look, I believe that too when I was writing SmackDown, collaboration with the talent is the best way to keep the integrity of the character. Because to your point, man, I was focused on me. Sammy is focused on Sammy. New Day is focused on New Day. And so it's this is what I want you to do in the big picture. I need you to now look at the minutia and see how you would, and I need to also, as the writer, trust that you're going to execute it in that way. And I think for a period of time, that trust was, we were asked to relinquish that trust, maybe, or maybe that trust wasn't there. I think there's some talent that we figured out we trust, and there's a lot of collaboration going on now. And I think, to your point, it's helping with the character integrity. Look, we would stop in the middle of stories sometimes because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I gotta tell you, the one thing I used to look out for, bro, because this is what you gotta be careful of as a writer, and Brian will testify to this. Bro, you always gotta be aware of the writer. The talent, the mentality is, I'm getting myself over first. And that should be your mentality. Right. There's no question about that. But as the writer, you've got to know, okay, bro, you're trying to get yourself over at the expense of so-and-so. But I got to tell you something, bro. During the Attitude Era, Brian, that hardly ever happened.
Yeah.
Why
is that?
I really think that it was such a, and this is, I can't even believe I'm saying this because of the wrestling business.
Yeah.
I really feel this was such a tight-knit group and a family at times.
Yeah.
That as wrestlers, bro, you guys are programmed. You're independent contractors, bro.
Yeah.
You got to get off. You got to get over on each other.
Yeah.
That's the way it's been free. That's how you're programmed. I get it. And so you're always thinking, how am I going to get over?
Yeah.
But back then, bro, I never was faced with that. You were always thinking about, well, I'm working with D'Lo.
Yeah.
You know,
I gotta let D'Lo get over. I gotta.
And I gotta be honest with you, Brian. I think that's why everybody got over.
Yeah, it might be. It might be that because there, it did get a little weird there at the end where people, I'm not putting him over and I'm not doing that, and I was like, wait, what? The asylum is being overrun by the inmates, and it's still that way a little bit, but I think it in a good way. I think the collaboration with talent, because you bring up a great point, Vince, about getting kind of tunnel vision a little bit about the show in its totality, and I can't possibly focus on the intricate execution of each segment. And that's what Vince has produced live television for so long, that he has those the little bitty minutia, the intricate things like, if he plays his music there, he'll be standing in the ring for 3 minutes. You can't do that. You got to do, and you go like, oh man, he's right. Like he's figured it all out. Excuse me. But that's the beauty of working for him, man. You get to see all that stuff. I forgot what we were talking about. Yeah. It was awesome.
That was it when y'all met. Also, I wanted to go into, you say you watch Raw, and give us somebody that you do like, somebody that you think, hey, I look at him and her, and they feel like they get it.
There are a lot of people that
you're thinking it's gonna be the kiss of death if you say
no, Brian. I'll be honest with you. There are a lot of people I watch, and I do say, God, I wish I could have wrote.
Wish I could write. For
I
them.
wish I could write. I'm being honest because I feel, my opinion that there are people that are being underutilized.
Yeah,
and I think it's like simple things. And I mean, bro, there are a lot of characters I like on the show where I just sit there and I say, God, I just wish I could. But at the top of my list, I mean, and bro has been on the top of my list for a long time, and he doesn't need Vince Russo writing for him. But I think Bray's a freaking genius.
Yeah.
And the challenge with the writers at the WWE, Brian, this is what I was always faced with that people don't understand. Because what they always hit me with is, oh, Vince, you were a successful writer, but look at the roster you had. And what they don't understand is, bro, I worked with a great roster. I worked with great individuals. But what they don't understand is I had to feed them every week. Yeah. So I had to write at the greatness of their level. I was not going to give the Outlaws something where they were going to look at it and say, Vince, this is a piece of shit. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you were here last week, bro, we got to get you here this week.
Yeah.
And then we got to get you here. So my writing had to match their freaking performance. So there's a lot of pressure in that, bro, because I'm not going to give Austin and The Rock shit. I got to give them something where they're
gold.
Yes, and they're going to be excited about doing it. I think that's been part of the problem with Bray, to be honest with you, bro. Yeah. I think his level is so high. Whatever is going on in here, bro, it's almost impossible for a writer to write up to that. The dude's thinking on a genius level, and if you can't meet him there, what's going to happen is you're going to start pulling him down, not because you mean to. Because this guy is just thinking at a level of nobody else. It's a very hard job, Brian.
Yeah, well, look, I think, Vince, you could go back to where you started saying what people don't understand, and it's the writing of a television show, unless you have written a live WWE television show or, a live wrestling television show. Go and write a 3-hour live wrestling television show, and then after that, do it 51 more times that year, and put it on television in order to move and sell your product. And it's just a lot more goes into it than anybody would ever think. And so it's a huge hurdle to negotiate to write a live wrestling television show.
Well, that's the one thing.
I don't know if I've mentioned it's live. So
yeah, well, that's the one thing that just they don't have a clue. I'm just gonna say, because bro, like, think about it, man. You got 52 weeks out of the year. You got two. Back then it was only me and Ed. So you got 2 shows. So multiply that. Now you got 104
104,
shows. And 12 pay-per-views to that. Now you got 116 shows. We're not even talking about Sunday Night Heat, which we did write as well, by the way. 2 guys are writing 116 shows. Then Casio, then
you got a magazine.
But I'm not saying this to put myself over. My point is, then here's what happens, bro. When all of a sudden Vince McMahon wins a championship, or Vince Russo gets speared out of a cage and he's the WCW champion, or David Arquette pins Eric Bischoff. People don't understand, bro. When you do things like that, all of a sudden it opens up roads to creativity that you were not going down before.
Yeah, that you didn't have access to.
You didn't have access. And Brian, if you don't do shit like that and have access to shit like that, you're going to keep repeating the same shit over and over again. That's why you have Mike Tyson moments. That's why you have a David Arquette moment, Vince winning a bell. Because now that creative envelope, Brian, that could buy you 3 months.
Oh, yeah. And 3 months, it could buy you 6 months. It could buy you a Mania match.
Yeah,
a Logan Paul or something.
And those months were never on the table.
Right, before.
But when you're writing that much television, you're desperate for new content, bro.
Anything and everything. And so, nobody, if they haven't done it, they just can't understand it. It's like that one ride at the fair.
And by the way, if you've been in a meeting, most of the people online that are complaining about a creative, if you sat them in a creative meeting, they'd be like, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't understand the creative Think of how many things you can get cut on the creative process.
Oh, yeah. How many ideas never make it to the top.
Like you said, it's a world they're chirping about that they don't really know about. It's just it's the weird. It's just like
it's social media
coordinator.
It's social media in a nutshell. It's not real. None of this is real.
It's not.
This is real. So Vince, what are you doing now?
17 podcasts.
17 podcasts. But like, what's the day? Do you just live life? Do you have kids?
Yeah, Brian. I'll be honest with you, bro. I start my day at 8:00.
Yeah.
Because I want to be done by noon.
Okay. Oh, I love you.
I live in Colorado. Noon, my wife works. I could get in my car. I could drive in the mountains. I could go thrift storing.
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want to do. And then, sometimes I do shows at night.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So that's why, like, I'll knock off by 12. Like tonight, I got to do a show at 6:00.
Yeah.
But pretty much every day I've got that entire block.
Wow. That's
and
awesome.
I'm just Brian, listen, I'm 10 years older than you, bro. I'm telling you, 60 is going to hit you like a Mack truck.
In a good way or a bad way?
Both.
Okay.
60, mortality sinks in, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw Lonnie Poffo pass away at 68.
Yeah.
So now at 60, we can start counting down the years.
Yeah. We're closer to the ground than we
are. Closer. And so what happens, I think, Brian, once you turn 60 and maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15. If I'm lucky, maybe it's 20.
Yeah.
Well, bro, now you want to do what you want to do with that time.
Yeah, amen.
That is the most important thing. I don't know how much is left. God could call me tomorrow. What do I want to be doing with this time left? Really, bro. That's why, Brian, so many people, like I always hear, you know, if I critique a Raw show, and I'm always being honest, I've said, bro, the last 4 weeks, WWE has been on a roll.
Yeah.
The shows are being formatted better. You're keeping the audience. I put it over since Raw Triple X. I put it over, but I always get the, oh, Vince, the reason you critique, you're bitter that they won't hire you. And I'm like, bro, do you understand? Brian, has wrestling not taken years off your life?
Oh, 100%.
Exactly. They don't 100%, understand.
Yeah. It's the mafia. It's once you get out, they suck you back in.
I try to explain these people, bro. I'm 62. You're talking about going to the airport, sitting on a plane, getting picked up, going to the hotel, going to TV for 14 hours, dealing with the politics. Bro, they literally would find me dead in a hotel room. Like, seriously, they have no idea. Bro, they think it's like a picnic.
Hey, it's not easy, man. It is not. I just was gone for like 4 days, and it's just living out. And I was in the same hotel room for 4 days. That's a luxury. And so, but it was still like, you know what I mean? It was still not home and at work, and like you said, airport security, the whole deal. It's not ideal, especially not. I'm lazy, so I like to just sit around and do nothing.
That's why I love when I always hear, well, I have a dream of, and I'm like, keep dreaming about what you think it is. Keep dreaming about that.
Yeah. So at some point, you got to take a step toward that dream.
Yes.
But that's awesome. So do we have Casio, like a list of all of his stuff, or can we put that up and post, or how does that work?
We'll throw some links in there.
I would love to. Because look, I think
if you go to Russo's with an S, russosbrand.com, you'll see
everything's there. Russosbrand.com.
That's it.
Yeah, everything. There'll be pick nudes, the whole deal. Everything's there if you want to look.
But we got the Russo OnlyFans going.
Yeah, there's a Russo OnlyFans.
I got to tell you this though, bro. Every time I say it, this man gets credit for it, and I'll tell you every time I say it, because I say it at least once every 2 weeks. Every time I say bless his heart, I stop everything and I thank Road Dogg. But I got to tell you when I always use bless my heart. Okay.
Yeah.
When the Outlaws are working, and Brian, it's a singles match, and it's Brian, and he's going down to the ring with Billy. And Billy is now doing Brian's part on the mic. I will sit there by myself, Brian, and I will say, bless his heart.
Amen. I don't know when this will air, but today is actually Billy's wife's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So shout out to Paula. Happy birthday. And well, look, bless Billy's heart, because he was the racehorse, not the jockey.
Bro, I swear to God, bro, I said this from day one. And I say it to today. So we're talking about, like, I probably met Billy with the Smoking Guns in 95.
Yeah.
We're talking about 28 years. And I say it to this day. Bro, far and away, the greatest, most gifted athlete I ever worked with. Far, to this day, far and away.
So I saw him outrun The Rock in the parking lot of a Gold's Gym, and Billy was wearing high-tech boots, those black boots that everybody wore, untied, and Rock was in, like, he didn't have his personal shoes yet with a bull head on them, but he had his Nikes laced up tight. They raced a foot race, and Billy smoked him, and then I smoked something else and went in the gym. And like I was riding the recumbent cycle and just watching Rocky. Got like the best workout I've ever seen him get because he was so pissed.
I saw him play. I saw Billy play one of those WWE basketball.
Yeah, basketball
Bro,
game.
he never missed a shot.
No,
like,
he is a baller.
He never missed a freaking shot. Bro.
Hey, he is a baller and got leaps too. Like he is. Hey, we played on the Wrestle Vessel or the Bruise Cruise or whatever. We played. We played volleyball against the fans, and Ken Shamrock and Billy Gunn were killing the ball. Like they were. It was blood and guts volleyball, and like it was horrible because some of the fans, you know what I mean. weren't competitive at all. And, and
they just wanted an experience.
Billy and Ken Shamrock are like belly bumping each other.
That is great.
That's such a great time. Well, Casio, what you got another question, or
here's how I knew y'all were really friends, Dog. And I don't even know if you realized he did it, but did you know that he did back you up? He thinks you're a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart.
Oh
I can't believe you're going to bring that back up, Casio. That old chestnut. I know. Yeah, no, I agree with myself too. Not a lot of people do.
And I always make this freaking clear. And bro, it's so funny because there are guys you got to write every word for.
Yeah.
And I usually found those guys to be the great wrestlers because I think they wanted to focus on the match.
Yeah.
So, okay, Vince, tell me what you want me to say, So there were always different levels of writing. Bro, I never wrote one word for Brian. Yeah. Not every time coming through that curtain, bro. I swear to God, you know who I put you up there with, bro? And we always hear about the conversation, the best promos, and I can never understand how he's not in the conversation. I would say two of the greatest guys I ever worked with was Brian. I never wrote a word for Brian, and it was always different. He was always mixing it up. Bro, Percy.
Oh, yeah.
My. You talk about, bro, he hands down was the greatest storyteller of all time.
Yeah, with no verbiage. Like you didn't give him any verbiage.
No, he knew the story.
Yeah,
he had to get across, but I would be standing there like just
in awe.
Oh my God!
That's how he got in, and that's how he survived by his brain. Man. You know what I mean? Because he took a bump or two when he was younger, in Texas and stuff, but he didn't. He got by in this business because of his brain. Please
greatest
continue.
Storyteller of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. What a great guy too. Just a great human being.
The best.
Well, Vince, what you have any final comments? If you could change the world,
I am very thankful you brought me on the show. You know how much I love you. I'm a huge fan of yours, bro.
Oh, you know what we can do? Can we do it? Can we, Dom? If you have the capability, let's do the clock and let's do what we call the thankful minute. And what we'll do, Vince, is we'll put up a bomb, and you'll see it ticking down. You have 60 seconds. To just tell us what you're thankful for right now in your life, like what today's going on. What I don't know.
We're tired of the negative, so we want to bring.
Yeah,
positive.
we want to bring positive. Oh God,
the clock's run. Wait,
hold up. It's not running yet. Oh God.
All right, here we go.
Okay, go.
As a shoot, I am really thankful. Obviously, I got to say first, I'm thankful for God. Who makes everything possible. I am so thankful that I was a fan way before I started working in the business. I worked in the business. I am out of the business. I am very, very, very thankful that without a shadow of a doubt, I got to work with the greatest performers. I believe in the history of wrestling, and there's been great performers. And I'm not saying that to take a shot at any other decade, man. The early WrestleMania years was great. A lot of people love today's product, but I really feel I was so literally lucky to work with the caliber of stars that I did during the Attitude Era. And Brian, you're one of them, so I thank you, my friend.
Oh man, thank you. And on that note, we got a cool explosion graphic. How much? How much did that cost?
It came out of our checks.
Yeah,
I love the whoever I was watching, whoever did that dog collar graphic. I love that graphic you got for the show. That's a great graphic.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I wanted to call it the dog house or something like that, and Conrad was like, "Should do. Oh, you didn't know podcast." I was like, "Oh yeah, that works too." I guess. I was like, that probably works a lot better. Well, look, Vince, I tell you what I'm thankful for, man. I'm thankful that you agreed to come on the show.
Yes.
I am thankful for our friendship over the years, and I know it will only continue.
Yep.
And man, it's just so good to catch up with you and talk to you about stuff other than, look, I know we touched on wrestling because we kind of got to, I guess, but I just love hearing that you're doing good and you're living your life and loving it too. You know what I mean? Because that's, man, that's what it's all about, is just finding some peace in your mind and being happy. So
I always say, Brian, because, again, we talked about, just real quick, we talked about, like, especially when it comes to wrestling today, bro, people just take it way too seriously.
Yeah.
And what I always try to tell people is this, bro. If you are spending a lot of time on something that really at the end of the day doesn't matter, then that means you're neglecting a lot of your time on something that does. I had to learn that the hard way. That's why I pass it along.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you very much, because it is. If you're and that's the negative, right? There's so much negative out there, and that's another thing that makes you feel confident sitting on Twitter and critiquing somebody else. I'm immediately coming from a position of authority because I know better than you. Right. I'm smarter than you. I could do it better than you. Know what I mean? And so that feels good to people. You know what I mean? I get that. That's intoxicating. So focus on what you need to do, dog. Focus on your. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Hey, Vince, thank you so much.
Thank you, guy,
for being on here. And Casio, I'm just going to say like this: if you didn't like this show, I got 2 words for you: suck it.